Hiya, and welcome back to Far Beyond the World, the game that teaches us that if you truly want to, I don't know, the game that teaches us that, if you have a little too deep of a conversation with Batman, he's going to try to fucking murder you. Anyways, let's just hop right in. It's good to be home. Once I close the doors behind me, I take a deep breath and try to relax. The walk in the woods was both insightful and invigorating, as pretty much all exchanges I had with Marissa to date. Quite parched due to our stroll, I take a mug and dunk it into the barrel. Hiya! I really need a drink. Flopping comfortably into the chair, I simply sip and unwind thinking about the crazy 2 days I had so far. Despite missing Rannoch a whole lot, plenty enough is going on to keep my mind occupied and buzzing with activity. From Vol's infatuation and childish outbursts to Tano's curiouser and curiouser past with Rannoch, Kor's apparent sadness at their falling out and Varissa's evasiveness on the matter only add to the mystery. There's so much to think about and my imagination runs wild. Could Tano be Rannoch's first crush? It would explain this little back and forth at the feast. But then again, how would Tano take away Rannoch's happiness? If they were an item, was it a heart-wrenching breakup or story of betrayal? I snort at my wild theories. It almost feels as if I've suddenly slipped from a fairy tale territory into Spanish soap operas. Despite how exciting the speculation is, I do find it quite disturbing that Rannoch's and Tano's feud seems to run deeper than just the superficial. Friends or lovers, I'm not sure how I feel about the deep bonds like that severed so completely. Especially if it was over something stupid. And knowing Rannoch, it definitely was something stupid. 3 years means they were still just teens. Not that I deny my wolf any credit. He is quite patient, but he also tends to dance around the truth a whole lot. With love or friendship, that's never good practice, especially if one is stubborn to admit wrongdoing in the first place. And again, Tano is a very underhanded and a sneaky guy. Maybe he fucked Rannoch over one time too many. My wolf is quite principled. Being constantly let down definitely would not sit well with him. Unless it was really more than that. I wonder if they... No. I've been getting exceedingly distracted by the horny stuff while here. It's none of my business if they did stuff or not. I just wouldn't want to be caught in crossfire. Tano seems like a wolf you really do not want to piss off unintentionally. I try to keep myself occupied by tidying up the place, washing up the used up dishes, and making sure that the cottage is presentable for when Rannoch finally returns. He won't come back. No, I mutter, trying to fight the sudden surge of doubt. He will return. I just know it. I huff defiantly. In the meantime, to keep my spirits up, I'll just think of all the conversations we can have once he's back. The idea of all the answers I can get makes me quite excited. Excited enough to steel my resolve against any pervasive thoughts. I simply pet my dandelion and drift away on a daydream to the moment I'll see that goofy wolf again. Eventually it gets sufficiently dark that I realize my musings have taken me into the evening. With very little left to do, drifting off and overthinking stuff is pretty much all I have. And that's not good. I start up the fire and simply heat up one of the pies in a small pan. Tano and Rannoch. Yeah, no, definitely not thinking about that. I start up the fire and simply heat up one of the pies in a small pan. I savor the meal as much as I can, but between the warmth of the hearth, the food, and the ale, I begin to drift off. A soft knock on the door stirs me up from my stupor, and I rush to open the doors. Hey there, pet! Cora catches me by surprise and a blinking confusion towards Varissa's bemused muzzle. Hold on, we gotta do the thing. Just... It's so mean, but I love her. Like, she would definitely be like, hey, let's take a selfie. And then apply 1.5 billion filters. Because, like, I don't know, she just wants to. Cora catches me by surprise and I blink in confusion towards Verissa's bemused muzzle. Clearly the curious female followed her here, intent on going to the feast together. Fuck, there you go, I'm just gonna hide all that. Funny in the moment, not anymore. Well, go on. The tawny girl is overly excited, and it gets me incredibly curious and awake. Finally, Verissa rummages inside of her bag and places a pinkish-looking bar onto the table. It's soap! She elongates her speech as if she were talking to a child. For washing up! Now she follows up with a pantomime consisting of rubbing her own tits and pits. I give a discreet glance to Verissa, matching her irked expression. She means well. It smells of flour! Please, don't. Finally, the white female grabs one of her paws. He's an otherkin, not a moron. Sorry. Cora mutters awkwardly and readjusts her expression. Just smell it. She grabs the bar and takes a whiff, inviting me to do the same. I shrug and decide to entertain her. It smells of lavender. Nope, not doing this. Nope. Nope. Nope, not doing this. Definitely not doing this. No, 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 nope, no, no, mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. No. Mm-mm. No. In Ad Astra, Amicus smells like lavender. And you have to leave him for like 8 years, and Rannoch's away. And the bar of soap smells like lavender, so like... I blink, looking to the white female. I had some dried florets and found an old recipe. Wasn't hard to make, just needed some tallow. She shrugs, causing Cora to scoff in amusement. I know how to make soap, V. She blurts out through a snort, and I sigh internally. Of course she does. She's cute, nice, somewhat smart and handy. I was talking. Verissa cuts off, rolling her eyes in annoyance. To myself. You need rest. You overwork yourself. Cora waves her paw and ruffles my hair. Anyway, pity we have to leave him here, but we better go. I don't want to get another scolding from Aldris. Yeah, you go ahead, hun. I'll just check in on something. Okie dokie. See you later, pet. We wait, watching as Cora steps outside and Verissa leans in with a whisper. Stay put. I nod, holding up the pinkish bar. Thanks for this, V. I tease her with this newfound nickname. Ugh, don't you start. I made it to give you a little taste of home while Rannoch's away. I assumed you wanted lavender for toiletries, and Rannoch did mention you talked about soap earlier. He did? I blink, again taken aback by his constant thoughtfulness. It's better you wash up using this than and take an accidental bath in wolfsbane. That would not be pleasant. She snores, causing me to shake my head. Either way, I'd better go. It's much more brief than I had hoped, but such is life. Don't worry, I get it. I nod and embrace her, causing the female to stumble slightly in shock. For a moment, I think I've crossed the line, but she reassures me by returning the hug. Stay put. She reiterates before taking her leave. Once she's out, I just bounce the bar in my hand a little and then place it on the cupboard. I am thinking of using it now for a moment, but considering how tired I've gotten, washing up would just wake me up, and I'm not about to spend a lonely night in this empty house awake. Instead, I drink a deep cup of water, pet my dandelion, and put the fires out. As I pass the rack, I pick up one of Rannoch's cloaks and take it with me to the bedroom. Bro. Forgive my language. Or, no, These streams are just censored. Like, in reality, I swear like a sailor. I swear like a fucking sailor. There I pull off the dress, fold it neatly onto the chest, and slip into the linen. Once I'm comfortably splayed out, I snuggle into the cloak and inhale deeply, trying to remind myself of his scent. With at least a shred of his presence, I feel safe and snug, slowly drifting off into an effortless dream. The skinny old woman. Skinny old woman. Let me check. Fuck, I gotta do a thing with it. What is her name? I just like go through the files on sprites. Is it Enelle? Like Enelle? She looks nice. Yeah, I'm like looking at her sprite right now. She looks nice. She looks like she'll like read you stories and then scold you because you didn't get a snack while she read you a story. She seems like that kind of person. Wolf, whatever. Oddly enough, no whispers come to interrupt it, and I couldn't be gladder. I simply surrender to the memory of my wolf, who thanks to his cloak almost feel as if he was embracing me. For the first time, I truly sleep in, waking up all natural. I mean, it's not like Rannoch didn't let me laze a bit before, but I still woke up early on his account. Now without the wolf, there's no real reason to get up at dawn. Not to mention there's not much else to do around here. I'm kinda done with reading books for the time being. The last two left me unsettled enough as it is. I take a long stretch and approach the window to see the weather outside. I rest against the sill and take in the view. It's a sunny day, as most of the ones before, but still quite chilly. No other way around it, better get started. I go into the kitchen to build a fire. With a total of 3 attempts under my belt, I think I'm getting better at this. Once the warmth of the hearth radiates across the kitchen, I pull on the lever hoping it'll cause the metal chain to descend from the chimney. It does, to my great relief. I mount the cauldron onto the chain and fill it with water and leave it to boil. Those morning hoops to jump through are quite bothersome, and make me appreciate so many things I must have taken for granted. Indoor plumbing being at the top of the list. I decide to take my time with washing myself, especially since I've gone through all this trouble to get some warm water. I scrub every inch diligently, using the bar of soap Verissa gave me. It foams between my hands and I bring it to my face to take a few sniffs. The smell of lavender is a very new, but also welcome addition to my bathroom routine. More so than scrubbing myself with ash, that's for sure. Once I'm done and dry, I look around for some quick breakfast. After the circus with heating my own bath, I don't feel like making any fry-up. I still have some leftovers from yesterday, so I'm not that worried. However, as I'm about to sit down, I hear a knock on the door. Before answering, I drape myself over with one of Rannoch's spare cloaks. I ain't risking it. Once nicely covered, I open the doors to find a small linen parcel laying at my feet. I look out onto the porch and notice Vol's back in the distance as he casually walks off without even saying hello. Hell, he doesn't even look back. So we're playing this game then. Ugh. I pick up the package and close the door, flipping it carelessly onto the table. He's such an immature prick. He was the one to choke me. Again. I decide to be the bigger man and not take it personally, and he's the one to get offended? I'm so annoyed that I grab a tankard and walk towards the barrel. I fill it up and sit back at the table. I don't even want his damned food anymore. My frustration grows with each passing moment as I sulk and wet my lips with ale. He was the one to break the damned promise. I get it, he's extremely possessive. I see some of that behavior in Rannoch, but fuck. I sure hope my wolf doesn't end up acting like this. They're all savage beasts. Immediately I think of Dreher. Rannoch did overreact a bit with Vither's son. I mean, Dreher did tackle his superior in their own house, and it could have ended up killed. But was it justified to beat him up? Ugh. This place is so cruel and savage. Violence seems to be the answer to everything here. But to tackle me because of a slip of tongue? Vriss is right. Vol is a beast. He swore. Oathbreaker. Yes, he swore. He made such a show of how he values his word, all just for show. What a joke. That's what I get for trusting... Wait, no. I blink, looking around in confusion. I hear my rattled breath echo across the room and just realize how physically upset I got. No, this isn't me. It's those pervasive thoughts again, trying to throw me into one of the mood swings. I try to stabilize myself, knowing full well that whatever the hell this thing is, it very much latches onto my emotions and cranks them up to 11. He's gone now. Soon they'll all be gone. No. I say calmly, banishing the thought before it even materializes. I know your games, you mistake me for a pawn, but I am very much intent on remaining a player. If I can keep my cool while deep inside of a wolf den, then your incorporeal ass can kiss mine. I sit back down, still very much toying with my keepsake. Vol is Vol. I saw his terror as he realized he broke his promise. Even if he doesn't care for me, I saw in his eyes the shame of someone who very much holds his word dear. An honorable wolf who wounded his own pride. He didn't intend it, it only happened because she means the world to him. I release a heavy sigh, venting out all that pent-up anger. He's just as lost as Rannoch is, if not more. Deep down, he resents the idea of being seen as a beast and a brute. They made him into this. This fucking tribe, it's like a machine that is designed to twist and bend everyone inside of it, until all that comes out are damaged souls. If I'm to stay here, I'm going to make sure I don't become a cog inside of it. I won't perpetuate hurt and distrust. Everyone deserves a second chance. Especially the Black Wolf. I spend maybe an hour or two trying to unwind with the ale. I even check out the parcel that Vol brought, letting go of my petty grudge. There's some more cheese, sausages, and what looks like a nice quiche I'm pretty sure he made himself. You shall not pass. It almost feels like a makeup gift. Wait. Vol made a quiche? Damn, this man really got me questioning my morals. I mean, or maybe I'm reading into things again. Either way, it's better to hold on to hope than resentment. I still struggle reading time in this place, but I'm sure it's somewhere past noon, gauging by how high the sun in the sky is. The fire already died out, and I use my free time to quickly clean the house again, trying to stave away any pervasive thoughts. Although now much easier a task thanks to me finally picking up on their foreign nature, they still unnerve me a little. It's like having another person inside of me. Bringing the cottage up to speed isn't as laborsome, as I did a fairly good job of it the first time around. I simply dust the surfaces and sweep the floors, careful to get into every nook and cranny. There's an odd satisfaction in keeping this place tidy. Once only the bedroom's left, I begin to wonder what will I do with the rest of my day. Oh, thank heavens. I put down the broom, certain it's Vrissa coming to pay me a visit. I rush towards the chest to put on a dress, trying not to make the female wait. I'm coming. I mutter in my mind, straightening the silk across my thighs. As I open the door, I almost jump back in panic. Trist just stands there, looking at me with a bemused expression, most likely taking my startled reaction as mockery. He nods towards the inside, clearly asking to be let in. I just shut the door into his stupid face, but the bunny persists. Ugh. I open again, this time begrudgingly giving him a nasty look. One more time, the bunny nods towards the inside, asking to be let in. I glance around, seeing some wolves about, and reluctantly wave my hand in an inviting gesture. Alright, bitch. The moment the door's shut, I give him the meanest stink eye I can muster. What do you want? I came to fetch you. He states matter-of-factly. Fetch me? You must be kidding. Yes, as much as I think you are a massive joke, this here isn't. Ooh, you little... Funny coming from someone called Salem. So you do speak their language. Clearly not as well as you do. He scoffs, walking towards the table and dragging his finger across it. I mean, what sort of an idiot wouldn't pick up a few words working here for several years? Then why pretend? Because wolves do not like being spoken to. He throws his inquisitive gaze into the floor, rubbing it with his hind paw. I see Rannoch's already putting you to good use. Or perhaps I'm just not a lazy layabout. He grimaces, massaging his forehead as if he were in pain. Ugh. What's the matter? I ask automatically, my good nature overriding my dislike for the guy. Nothing's the matter, just it's so confusing talking with you. It's like, yeah, like I was born in your burrow. I scoff mockingly. I've heard that one already. He gives me a distrusting look and simply shakes his head. Either way, I'm not here to debate your linguistic skills. Oh god. Good. If you want bonus points, you can stop scrutinizing my housework as well. As if I'd care about my standing with an obvious spy. I laugh out loud, looking at him with pity. A spy? Who the hell would I spy for? You tell me. A smug smile stretches across his muzzle, and his insolence has finally exhausted my patience. I huff in annoyance, approaching the door. They creak open as I swing them ajar, showing the rabbit out. Leave. Now. Close the damned door, you fool! The bunny jumps up in panic, causing me to narrow my eyes. Someone can overhear us. I comply reluctantly, slowly closing the door. Why are you so freaked out? We're talking in Sylvan. We're talking, period. Wolves don't like their wards plotting behind closed doors. We're hardly plotting. Try to explain that to them. I sigh uncomfortably, not really sure how much I can really trust this guy. Again, what do you want? I was ordered to fetch you. You are needed at the villa. At the villa? I blink. Yes. But I was supposed to stay here, out of sight. Well, the chief is throwing a luncheon for the elders. Surely his household is well staffed. What does he need me for? I don't know. It was Vither's idea. What? Why? I only understand bits and pieces of that horrid language. Something about making an impression. On the elders? I conclude, and the bunny scoffs mockingly. Yeah, I suppose. Sometimes I think that a single tree would have more gold than all those damned wolves combined. Bringing you in there is just asking for trouble, especially decked out like this. He waves at my dress, and I look down at it. I mean, it is a dress, but other than that, nothing seems to be wrong with it. It's not revealing or anything, and I'd much rather be in it than walking around half naked. Besides, why should I even go anywhere with him? I'm Rannoch's attendant, not a servant. I shrug. Would you care to explain that to the chief, then? He proposes, showing me the door. Very funny. Thought so. He flashes his brows with satisfaction and approaches the exit. I don't like this. Of all the people in here, why would they send Trist? I don't want to go, especially not with you. Trust me, I don't want you anywhere near me either. Especially when that poorly masked ploy vortex explodes in your muzzle. Bro, I think we're turning into another Tano. And it will, I assure you. I don't want to be caught in the blast by association. He pulls on the handle and cracks the door slightly open, inviting me to follow. What ploy? Whatever chagrin you have going on here, I want no part in it. But this is not a request. It's an order. Now, would you please move before they send guards after us? I sigh and concede. Fine. Although I am distrustful of the bunny, I doubt he would try anything stupid. He seems quite afraid of what the tribe is capable of, and I'm under their protection. I walk towards the door with a reluctant step. This is quite the opposite of laying low. But in all fairness, when did any of Rannoch's plans unfold in the way he intended? It is a lovely day outside, and the air is much warmer than before. I sigh, glancing over to the table with a smile. Once this errand is over, and if the weather holds, I will have myself a nice drink here in the evening. Trist pulls me out of my daydream by rushing past me towards the path. I'm about to follow him when I notice the bunny stumble and almost fall into the dirt, cursing under his breath. Good. Wolf-damned step! I try not to laugh, but a chuckle escapes my lips. Someone will lose their teeth on it one day. Makes me wonder how often he actually left the place. You'd think that an uneven step would rather make a lasting impression. I jump over the faulty stone and stop next to the flustered bunny. I would have imagined that for a long-time attendant, you'd be used to it. Took me only a day to... Listen, it's better you shut up in public. It won't improve your chances if they learn you speak Old Sylvan as well. I tisk snarkily. Aw, you worry. Of course I do. You're suspicious as it is. Last thing I need is your stink being traced back to any of us. Now, let's go. He waves his paw at me and we walk down the footpath leading towards the center of the village. There's a lot of movement this time around, mainly because it's midday. The wolves we pass give us unsettling looks, some very eager to bare their fangs in subdued growls. When we're out without Rannoch, we're walking targets. Best to keep our heads low. He mutters and I comply, locking my gaze in the path in front of me. I suddenly feel very much exposed. Their penetrating gaze is sending the wrong kind of shivers down my spine. My breath speeds up to match the tempo of my racing heart. This sort of hostility is something I'm not quite used to. Where did all the charm of the feasting go? Relax, that's what they're after, to startle you. The bunny sighs and I try to steel myself. Those brutes look for any excuse to send a preykin into panic. Don't give them the satisfaction. I frown, finding it hard to believe even though I'm experiencing it firsthand. Then again, Volt does get a weird kick out of unsettling me. Maybe it's Rannoch who's the odd one out. As we enter the center of the village, I glance over to the butchery. Unsurprisingly, it's up and running with Vol busy at work with his back turned towards us. I want to end our little spat and decide to approach. It's also a good idea to let him know I'm being led somewhere. What are you doing? Trist whispers at me in panic, but I ignore him with a shrug. I approach the counter and pat at it, drawing Vol's attention. Piglet? He looks rather surprised, but his expression is less sour than I expected. What? He cuts off, noticing Trist dragging behind me. I forgot that he doesn't know the bunny is in on our little secret. Just as the awkward silence falls upon us, I see Cora walk from around the corner. I give her a shy wave, sending Trist into a deeper shock. Why, hello there, pet! Aren't you looking a picture? She smiles widely at me while giving Tristan a averse gaze. What are you two up to? I was wondering the same thing. Vol interjects. You. Where take him? Wolf points at me, making an exaggerated hand swing in the direction. I watch as Trist runs his paws behind his head, almost as if feeling up an invisible wreath. He then joins them in front of his chest, mimicking a sloped roof. The chief's place? Why? The bunny shrugs. I really struggle not to laugh at this whole charade. He'll be fine. He's got Rannoch's crest on his collar. They'll treat him right. She winks at me, ruffling my hair. Anyway, I need 2 pounds of fresh ham and some sausages for the den. We're making a stew for the pups. I need something hearty. Vol gives me an approving look. You're in luck. Piglet and I made some fresh ones the other day. Oh, did you now? She looks to me with a kind smile. How industrious. Well then, I cannot wait to try them. She finally addresses Vol properly, and the black male has no choice but to return to conducting his business. Trist seizes this opportunity to pull me away with a rather angered expression. I look back, worried about our hasty departure, but the wolves seem to pay us no mind. When we're a safe distance away, the bunny finally snaps at me. Your cluelessness is going to get us both killed. He scolds me and I give him a confused look. Don't acknowledge any wolf unless they acknowledge you first. And never give your attention to low-ranking wolves in the presence of an alpha. I narrow my brows. Our social norms are so much different from what I'm used to, and I'm not aided by my personal rapport with Vol and the others. I guess I really need to up my game if I want to be inconspicuous. Sorry, it's all new to me. Seriously? He sneers. Volgor is the last wolf you want to fuck with. Or one of the first, depending on your meaning. I chuckle, trying to ease him, but the bunny is clearly unsettled. It's not a joke. If you want to get killed, do so on your own time. But don't drag me down with you. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll try to keep their customs in mind. He sighs, looking at me with doubt. What about the elders? How do they rank in the society? Considering we're headed to the villa, you better give me a crash course. He nods in agreement as we walk around the stockades. It does seem like that. I wouldn't want to end up here due to some slip-up. The hierarchy is quite simple. Chief is at the top. You always acknowledge the chief. Then comes his advisor, in this case, Vither. Yeah, that makes sense. After that, it's the elders, any and all of them. Only then you acknowledge the heir, Rannoch. I whisper and the bunny nods. After the heir, it's the alphas in no specific order. If any of them are present, no one else exists. It's a grave insult to acknowledge a lower-ranking wolf before finishing with their superior. I guess me interacting with Cora was another no-no then. So far, nearly everything is a grave insult with these wolves. You don't even know the half of it. He mutters, pulling my hand. Come on, pick up the pace. We walk a little further, my feet relieved to feel the undergrowth again as the small pebbles of the village pathways quite hurt my soles. I notice that we're not exactly walking on grass, but rather moss-covered road. It's incredibly ancient by the looks of it, and it cuts right into the thick of the woods. I stop in my tracks, absolutely amazed by the way the canopy arches above the trail, creating an illusion of a woodland tunnel pierced every now and then by an occasional light shaft reaching to the ground from high above. Wow, this looks amazing. I gasp in astonishment trying to take in this spectacular view. It's a bit overgrown. The rabbit shrugs unenthusiastically. That's what's beautiful about it. Finally, a shred of emotion other than a scowl. He might think I didn't notice him giving me curious glances, but I did. It seems he approves of my appreciation for nature. It's an old sylvan road. It connects all the major groves of Turnen. Groves? I inquire, trying to seize the opportunity to build a proper rapport with the guy, but I might have acted too hastily. Trist only gives me a contemptuous look, deciding to ignore my question. Fine, don't tell me. I pout, placing my hands behind my head and giving myself an idle stretch. I assume they're important to the sylvan folk. Ugh, is that your game? To gather information? He sneers, giving me an accusatory look. I'm only asking questions, trying to understand what's going on. What's going on is that I don't buy your little damsel in distress act. I'm not a damsel. I narrow my eyes and the bunny scoffs. Sorry, must have gotten confused by your fancy dress. Could you at least not be this difficult? I ask, rolling my eyes in annoyance. It's entirely unnecessary. If we are both to survive among those wolves, we have to stick together. Together? Trist blinks and stops in his tracks. Oh no, human. He hisses, pushing his finger to my chest deep enough to cause me to wince. I intend to stay as far away as possible from you, because you... I watch as he waves that finger in front of me, struggling to find the right words. You are just a delayed death sentence in the making. Why are you being so bitter? I haven't done anything to you. I ask, really not understanding his animosity now that we have a chance to talk. Oh wow, so many technical issues. I love it. I don't find it being helpful to either of us. Haven't you now? Again, he sneers mockingly. Aside from taking my position, you are literally threatening to set this place ablaze. I didn't take it, not intentionally at least. And if it was up to me, you could have it back. My voice carries a cynical tone, like, how could he pin this on me? To claim I have some sinister intentions towards the tribe. He's insane. I am not a threat. Not a threat? You must be joking. Triss sneers and I just sigh in resignation, pushing right past him. I might not know where the villa is, but we're on this road for a reason, right? Suit yourself. Silence overtakes us as we continue our journey. We march for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but they drag on mercilessly. The only entertainment I have is watching the bunny fume over our exchange. He's definitely thinking of a comeback, and no sooner than I begin to smirk at his perpetual scowl, he breaks the silence. What would a human even be doing this far from any of his kin? Like, honestly, what is your goal here? I am just lost, Trist. I've been saying this the whole time. Yeah, as if anyone would buy it. Sooner or later, they'll figure out what you're up to. Who will? The elders. The chief. He shrugs. Why else would Vithar want you there? Without Rannoch covering your back is a prime opportunity to actually sniff you out. They'll make a quick work of you and things will be able to go back to normal. And this time, there is no Rannoch to save you. He says in a cold, heartless tone, and it doesn't seem like he is joking. I slow down my pace, starting to think again that this might just be a trap. What are you doing? He notices my tardiness as I finally come to a stop. You really are afraid, huh? Trist smiles with satisfaction, not knowing when to stop. Got yourself in too deep? Why are you being such a dick? Being nice was nowhere in my job description. He mocks me and looks forward, towards our destination. We need to get a move on, you're lagging behind. The bunny demands, but I don't care. Instead, I look behind in the direction of the village. I was supposed to stay in the house. I think I'm going to head back. Back? Are you insane? He shouts out, approaching me hastily. You do not ignore someone from the chief, especially when elders are involved. Rannoch told me to stay put, but you dragged me out and put in direct danger. What? He looks at me with shock. This has nothing to do with me. He protests, darting his worried gaze between the road ahead of us and me. Look, I'm sorry I have upset you, but you cannot head back. If they have to look for us, we'll both get in serious trouble. His panicked expression almost turns into a pleading one. I guess he was just pushing my buttons, but I cannot help the fact he did get into my head. Off to the chopping block. I don't want to be executed. Neither do I, so just shut up and follow my lead. He sneers, grabbing my hand harshly and pulling me into a forced march. His fluffy paws are warm, and for whatever reason, it catches my attention. A distraction perhaps from another approaching panic attack. Seriously, you're acting all over the place. Trist grumbles, still holding my hand firm and enforcing a tempo. Yes, mentally, I'm not exactly here and now. Comes with the territory of waking up in the middle of fucking nowhere with no memories. As if. He scoffs and I have enough. I yank my hand free, stopping in my tracks and giving him an angered look. The bunny is more than fed up with me, his expression making it clear, but then his attention shifts to my shoulders. You're shivering. They'll notice that. He states with concern, and I notice I'm wobbling like a jello. A cold feeling of dread fills my heart, seeps into my very bones. I can't help it. I mutter, rubbing my hands across the arms. You have to. They're all wolves there. I'm a damned rabbit, and even I can sense your fear. You're the one who keeps freaking me out. For a spy, your nerves are made of straw. I'm not a spy. I shout out, my eyes getting glossed over. Pretty much. My heart speeds up yet again, and I'm just a moment away from everything going black. Okay. Trist rushes to my side, shushing me. Just get your mind off of it. Try to relax. I can't. You have to. If I bring you in this state, it'll cause them to sniff, and I'm sorry, but you seem to crack easier than brushwood. Just relax. His tone is now really desperate as he places his paw on my chest and tries to calm me down. How? Just ask me things. You seem to be an inquisitive sort. He struggles to come up with a distraction. You must have some questions. You hardly shut up for someone who wants to keep their speech secret. He tries to make me laugh, and I involuntarily chuckle. I look at the paw that keeps holding me and notice the silly barcode pattern. It's not a barcode, it's a QR. What's up with that tattoo? This? Never you mind. I narrow my brows. So much for asking you things. I mutter, and the shivers rock me ever so slightly, causing the rabbit to reconsider. He squeezes my shoulder to steady me and releases a long sigh. It's a map of my burrow to remind me where I'm from. That's all you get on the matter. He interrupts me sternly. We aren't buddying up, so don't ask me personal things. Despite his tone, he keeps holding on to me. This little gesture allowed me to slow down the torrent in my head, and my emotions finally returned back under my control. Well, I was meaning to ask you something else. It was a book I read. Ooh, a well-read human, imagine that. He chuckles, tugging at my hand and trying to nudge me into a slow pace. Anyway, talked about the Tiger Rebellion. It mentioned how the Sylvan folk were instrumental in defeating the lions, but I couldn't find any mention of the wolves. Why would you? Huh? I blink in confusion. Why would you find any specific mention of them? You mean the wolves came here after the rebellion? This time he's the one who stops and looks at me with serious disbelief. What is this? Are you for real? I know you think I'm a spy, but can you just entertain my memory loss for a little bit? Especially when it doesn't threaten your safety, or are you telling me your life somehow hinges on my access to ancient history? Ugh, fine. He concedes with an amused scoff, and we continue to walk. I don't see what you could possibly gain from feigning such ignorance, so I suppose you were just badly educated. Yes, veiled insults aside, can you elaborate? Why weren't wolves mentioned in the Tiger Rebellion, but the Sylvan folk were? Because wolves are Sylvan folk. Or, well, they used to be. What? I thought you're the Sylvan folk. You know, bunnies. I'm not a bunny. He looks at me sternly. Sylvan folk are all sort of kin who follow the path of Sylvan. Wolfkin, deerkin, bearkin, all bound together for the common good. Then why are wolves no longer part of that? Because wolves are exactly that. Wolves. Once we managed to chase off the lions and regain our freedom, wolves who for centuries were the shield protecting the Sylvan folk, protecting the Sylvan, turned against it. I guess they just realized that they don't have to be equals anymore, but rather take that one step to elevate themselves above all others. I frown, not really sure which side of this story to trust anymore. I find it hard to believe it was that simple. I don't care what you believe. The facts speak for themselves. The lions got the boot, and the wolves took their place. I thought the tigers did. The Tigery took the heart of Avalon for themselves, staking claim to the most lush and fertile land on the continent. They didn't give two shits about some woodlands in the peripheries of their territory. I ponder, trying to digest the information. In all fairness, I'm getting more and more conflicting reports. The book made lions to be the villains, with Tigery and Sylvan folk praised as the true champions of justice and equality, while Rannoch sees all of it as bogus. Now Triss says it's the wolves who are the bad guys. I mean, they do seem a bit unhinged at times and slightly on the extreme side of things, but this whole thing is so confusing. Rannoch seems to dislike the tigers. I mutter, gauging the rabbit's opinion. He believes the rebellion was a lie, that the tigers were the ones who replaced the Lion King. Tigers allowed other races to self-determine their future. That's more than can be said about the wolves. They simply determined that Turnen was theirs and no one else's. I frown. He's clearly biased, and Trist quickly notices my doubt. I mean, look at you. Didn't take long for Rannoch to place that collar on you. One way or another, wolves always mark their territory. For all the bluster about making a change, Rannoch never really considered the foundations upon which his entire worldview was built. He wants to repaint the cracks in the wall, while the only just thing to do is to tear the whole damned thing down. He concludes his passionate speech, but I'm unconvinced. Yes, Rannoch does seem to be confused and wrapped up in the delicate balance between change and traditions, but his heart seems to be in the good place for most of the time. Is that why you were giving him the stink eye while in his service? Because he's not as radical or revolutionary as you'd like him to be? He's a wolf. He might seem nicest of the pack, but he's still one of them. I stop, looking at him with a rather disappointed expression. That's a bit racist. A wolf will always remain a wolf. They only look out for each other. He simply shrugs it off and continues walking on. I guess he's not going to deny it. I try to make up the distance, but as much as the conversation became uncomfortable, I cannot just drop it. He's got Rannoch all wrong. I was lost and injured. He saved my life. Rannoch doesn't care about you or your life, neither does any other wolf for that matter. I don't know what sorcery you use to avoid getting killed on sight, but I know it ain't natural. Well, you're wrong. Am I? He pushes his finger into my chest once again, stopping us in our track. How long have you been here? A week? 2? I lived with Rannoch for nearly a year. I'd say I am a far better judge of his character than you are. Did he mistreat you? I ask plainly, fed up with his weird beef against the wolf. What? Did he mistreat you? I reiterate, and he just stares at me blankly. Define mistreat. Seriously? I scoff. What's your point, human? If you're saying those wolves are bad, I just want to know what that means for me. From one attendant to another. Ugh. He storms off from me, clearly annoyed with my line of thinking. It only proves to me he doesn't have any actual dirt on Rannoch. I cannot believe my wolf would do anything to harm him. I'd simply follow behind the bunny, determined to have him vocalize what I already know. It's a simple question, Trist. Did Rannoch mistreat you? No, he didn't mistreat me. Did he order you around, demand anything of you? I continue, getting exasperated by his bluster, which comes from so far unfounded dislike towards an entire race. No. So, he wasn't lying when he said you were able to simply mooch off of him, while doing fuck all in return? Mooch off? He stops again, rushing towards me and squaring off angrily. I can see his paws close into tight fists, and I half expect a sucker punch, but it never comes. Listen here, you glorified fancy-looking fuck toy. I never asked to be here. He sneers angrily, and I'm about to retort to his insult when he spits his words at me like bullets in quick succession. My burrow suffered 2 harsh winters in a row. I saw my friends and siblings succumb to starvation, while we had to ship off what little food we had to those damned wolves as tribute. You see them feasting and dancing every night, gorging themselves on ridiculous amounts of food. Our food. You find it charming. I saw you joining the fun as if you were one of them. Well, know this. All that merriment happens on the back-breaking labor of my kin. I just stare at him, his tiny rattled chest raising and falling in quick succession. I didn't know. I blurt out remorsefully. For the right to live in our groves, the wolves demand tribute, and that tribute has to be paid no matter the cost. Finally, when we had nothing to spare and the tribute ended, we had to surrender our firstborns. That's how I got this. He points to his collar, and I instinctively touch my very own. Last time I saw my mother was when she was huddled in the dirt. She was screaming my name as I was dragged away by those brutes to pay off a debt my burrow incurred for the insult of running out of food. So yes, I don't consider Rannoch's lax attitude a saving grace. I don't acknowledge any of those wolves for anything more than what they actually are. Savage monsters who will murder us without batting an eye if we step out of line. So you better wake up and smell the roses. I can see his nose twitch as he takes an idle sniff. Or lavender in your case. You even smell like a whore. I'm stunned, standing there in complete shock and utter disbelief. If what he says is true, the wolves committed unforgivable extortion. It makes his behavior so much more justifiable. But even if it is true, if the wolves as whole are like this, then they're all the same. I just stand there, completely resigned. Was I really fooled this whole time? A large part of me knows that having those doubts is unfair towards Rannoch. But the seed was planted, and I find it harder and harder to resist. As he walks a fair distance from me, he finally stops, giving me an annoyed stare. You know what? Do whatever the fuck you like. I'm just going to tell them you ran away. Should make for a fun evening for the packs. They always enjoy a good sport. No. I shake my head, finally shaking out of my stupor and approaching him. Oh, so you're coming then? Good. But don't you dare question my situation again, or I will get you killed, one way or the other. I don't respond, not because I particularly believe his threat, but because I can see that the bunny is very much speaking out of anger. Not that I blame him. Knowing the context of his wardship does explain a lot. But at the same time, it's clear he's not giving anyone a chance. Not to Rannoch, not even to me. If anything, he simply perpetuates his loneliness and bitterness through choice. Our circumstances are very much the same in one single aspect. We both have no way out other than to follow the lead. What we can choose, though, is to make the best of a bad situation. Triss just decides to make a bad situation worse. You know, you're the first person I actually get to talk to outside of that damned house. Despite you doing your darndest to spoil this for me, I still am going to enjoy it for what it's worth. Then enjoy it in silence. He sneers angrily, and I simply shrug. I guess our relationship will continue to be shaky. I understand some of his points, but he cannot be writing off an entire people that easily. Vol being prime example. At first, I hated the blackmail with all of my heart. His fear was incarnate, especially after he choked me out. The first time, the second wasn't as terrifying, just disappointing. I reluctantly rubbed my throat, again reminded I'm wearing a collar like a pet. Although Triss tried to ruin it for me, I still prefer to think of it as a memento. However, my personal attachments don't justify the shit those wolves are doing. Things are much darker around here than I originally thought. But Vol proved best that you cannot judge a book by its cover, no matter how feral and barbaric it might seem at first. I'm sure that for any questionable aspect of their way of life, there is another awe-inspiring one. Just like the name trees. Experiencing that living cemetery in person left a lasting impression, as many other things will in time. We continue walking in silence, with Trist's expression softening as the time passes by. The villa seems to be quite some distance from the village. Roughly half an hour into our trek, I hear the bunny exhale heavily and give me a more toned look. Nearly there. I can see he cooled off, and I decide to seize the opportunity to bury the proverbial hatchet. Okay, we clearly got off on the wrong foot. No shit. We can fight and squabble all we like, but for the moment, we're in this together. Since we're about to enter the wolf den, I suggest we made a temporary truce. I don't trust your naive shtick one bit. You're either dumb or a spy. I still haven't decided which. Neither make a convincing argument for any sort of dealings with the likes of you. He tries to sound nasty, but I shrug, not even acknowledging his jabs. As the silence protracts, he first dons a scowl on the count of my lack of reaction, then his expression softens until he sighs in defeat. I guess rational thinking takes this guy a while. Ugh, you're right. If you fuck up, chances of me getting out unscathed are low. The prideful democracy-built wolf tribe that ditches one's wife after conceiving a child, embrace her forest to the point of killing people who insult or trespass, took over a forest and groves belonging to rabbits, which was immeasurable extortion, turned against the other people that were allied with them against the lions, and Rannoch says the reason... That is very fucked up. Especially with the 3 alphas involved. You seem to be close with them. I don't suppose Rannoch would easily forgive if anything happened to his new perfumed toy while under my care. He says the last words with clear displeasure. I suppose for today we can have truce. This seems very disingenuous, and as much as I want to tell him to shove such a truce between his tail, I really have no idea what I'm in for. Fuck. I cursed underneath my breath. This won't be an easy alliance. Okay, but could you stop being such a dick all the time? Fine, as long as you stop talking out of your ass. My eyes widen in shock and I want to start another argument, when I realize it won't get us anywhere. I release an exasperated sigh and simply extend my hand towards him. Fine. He looks at me with slight surprise as if he didn't know what I meant. Your people don't shake on deals? Shake? I just grab his paw and show him how it's done. He seems confused as to the meaning of the gesture, carefully inspecting his paw once it is free, as if to see if I haven't done anything to it. Huh. I'll try to follow your lead, but if I sense a trap... This entire setup is a trap. The bunny grumbles, shaking off his paw as if he wanted to be rid of my cooties. Elders were furious at Verissa's little stunt. They boycotted the feasts ever since your presence was discovered. Oh! So they're toddlers. They want their displeasure widely known. So that's why I haven't seen any old wolves there. Sending you into the villa to that private meal is going to provoke a reaction. Although I am scared of the wolves, I'm hardly intimidated by some geriatric beastmen. What are they going to do? Berate me? We'll be fine. Just don't fuck me over. Right back at you, human. Just as we finish our little exchange, I notice a small opening in the canopy, which allows more of the light to flood into the woodland tunnel. There are two tall columns on the left side flanking a pathway leading away from the Sylvan Road. Just as we take that turn, my eyes witness the most unexpected of sights. Holy crap. I gasp in astonishment as I finally get to see the villa. It completely throws me off, as I did not expect it to look like this. Sophisticated. What's the matter? I'm not sure what I was expecting, but this is something. Looks very Romanesque. Romanesque? You wouldn't understand. I chuckle, shaking my head. It's a remnant of the old kingdom, left to rot in the woods like a dozen other Leonine residencies. This one doesn't look rotten. Rannoch's grandfather began restorative efforts. By the time your master was born, it was pretty much completely refurbished. I frown a little as he calls Rannoch my master, but I guess that's what he is in an official capacity. Does this mean Rannoch grew up here? Of course. I'm surprised that the wolf chose to live in his cozy little cottage while he could have stayed here. Could have just stayed here. His father even invited him back when I was hiding in the chest. This place could easily pass off as a palace. As we walk down the courtyard, I look at how well kept the hedges are. It must take a lot of work to keep this place well maintained. I should know. I'm the one doing it now. Yes, sorry about that. It is what it is. The rabbit shrugs as we pass next to a small fountain planted in the middle of the yard. There are the kitchens and the stores. Trist points to the right and then turns my attention towards the left side. That's where the wards live. Obviously, you're staying with Rannoch now, but should you need to find help, that's where they'll be. I nod, noticing a slight bitterness in his voice as he mentions my current accommodation. I want to apologize, but he suddenly stops as another bunny leaves through the large portcullis. Now, it's a good time for you to shut up. Hey, Trist, what took you so long? A slender female calls out as she carries a basket of linen towards the kitchens. The human is as dumb as a mule. What can you do? I dart my eyes to Trist in slight annoyance. Yeah, he looks kind of daffy, doesn't he? Yup. He laughs it off and waits for the female to go about her business. Was that necessary? I mutter through my clenched lips. Oh, poor kit. You need a thicker skin to serve here. I don't think I like that insinuation. Too bad, 'cause those wolves don't care. Come on. He waves at me and we walk towards the doorway. As we pass beneath the portcullis, I notice an inscription. I can swear it's Latin. Actually, let me do like a Latin to English. Okay. What does that mean? Hang on. Extra shit. Is that supposed to be a U? Ah, by virtue of his power. Yeah, I think that's supposed to be a U. That right there. I think that's supposed to be a U. Hang on. Here we go. Here. Somehow I know what it means. In virtue, a house shines. Fuck. How fitting for a place Rannoch grew up in. As we enter the villa, my eyes take a while to readjust to the sparse lighting inside of the enclosed corridor. Yo! I blink, trying to regain my vision, and am immediately taken aback. I'm amazed at how perfectly the building blends simple, functional architecture with a few elaborate details to create a refined aesthetic. The atrium stands as a testament to that. I'm most fond of the sizable pool collecting the rainwater from the opening above. The recliners on each side seem quite comfy. This looks definitely Roman, and I'm starting to get more and more confused about the whole deal with this place. I watch water lilies dance merrily on the mirror-like surface and smile. If I hear la-di-da from him ever again, listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. When inside, you will be very much on your own, so tread carefully. He utters in a worried whisper. You know the chief and Vither already. They have their days, but the elders are a different matter entirely. They are not to be trifled with. Especially not Aldris. She's the mean fat one. Then there's her childhood friend, Drawn. Be careful around them. I nod. They're... Ain't saying that. You can ignore Enelle. She's a senile old she-wolf and spends most of the time either sleeping or daydreaming. Trist takes a deep breath as if trying to muster his courage. Since you understand their language, try to ignore verbal cues. Only respond to gestures. I know, I've been discreet so far. He scoffs at me, giving me a patronizing look. If you call that embarrassing display at the feast discreet, then we're both fucked. Right, here goes nothing. Trist sighs and finally leads us into the next room. I nearly gasp, taking a step back at the sight of what I assume is the Great Hall of the Chief. The space is grandiose, with 3 columns on each side propping up the elevated rooftop. I look around, taking in the light cascading from up above and seeping in from a set of windows on the far side. I spot the throne as we approach the middle of the room, which features an open hearth surrounded by tables. Oh God. Oh God! The gathered took notice of our arrival, 5 wolves in total. The chief sits comfortably in the central chair, leaning to his left side and clearly discussing something with Vither, who replenishes his drink. I haven't seen the other wolves before, not even at the feast. It would seem they're all enjoying an afternoon snack, aside from a solitary slender old female who is either dead or asleep. I'm guessing that's Enelle. Finally, I thought the damned rabbit had bolted. Fetching our own wine grew tiresome. Stubby, nasty-looking she-wolf speaks in a rather unpleasant tone, drawing my attention to the right. They don't do that after we made an example of the last one. Her rounded neighbor replies, and they both laugh sardonically, causing my skin to crawl at the remark. It would seem one of the Sylvan folk tried to quit his place as a ward. I guess it didn't work that way. So this is the human. The female muses, straining her ant-sized eyes in my direction. Just the sight of that thing makes my bowels churn. I very much doubt you can see me, you old bat. Why is it dressed like that? Is that a sapphire set in gold? I thought he was found naked. If your bowels churn now, perhaps it's for the best. He's dressed it all. Vither laughs, allowing his voice to rumble across the hall. Quite right. The female nods, picking through some niblets on one of the plates. Wait, what is this? She suddenly mutters, toying with something in her paw. You damned fool! She nearly howls at Trist. I told you to bring me dates! Those are figs, you idiot! Ugh! The old female throws a hard lump at him, hitting the bunny on the chest. Oh God! Let me just the fuck her. Oh my God. Oh my God. She's awful. Like, oh my God. That's better. But, oh my God. The old female throws a hard lump towards him, hitting the bunny on the chest. As the projectile plops to the floor, I look down at it. I might not know what a candied fig would look like, but that there is a date clear as day. That bitch needs some spectacles, pronto. And by the by, get her attitude checked. The bunny nods apologetically and rushes off behind one of the doors. I swear, if she throws anything at me, I'm going to secretly spit in her food. Use shorter sentences, please. The old male mutters, rubbing his temple. I cannot stand the sound of that language. It's like your tongue is swollen and you're choking on it. Ugh, not this again. I really need to be extra careful. I cannot distinguish their language hopping. In all honesty, it feels as if I'm being pranked. You! Monkey! Come here! She calls out to me. Come here! She reiterates when I'm not speedy enough with my reaction. Her eye! Her tiny, tiny eye! Just poking out of the Okay. I approach slowly, standing next to her chair. The old hag grabs my hands harshly, pulling closer, almost causing me to trip. She twists my wrist to reveal the inside of my palms and leans in. For a second, I think the female is about to lick them, but now I see she's squinting to see better. Good thing about this furless beast is that it's quite easy to gauge who they actually are. She speaks, smacking her lips. Skin, you see, without fur wears off easily. She finally shoves my hands away, forcing me to take a step back. This one hasn't worked a day in their life. Hardly true. Volt did take me through my paces, and I did clean Rannoch's house twice over now. A noble, then. Here we go again. And you say he doesn't speak neither Vanar nor Freyr? No. Curious. Trist gives me a worried glance as he returns with another bowl. He bows respectfully as he presents it to the female. She plucks one of the dates and munches on it impatiently. Good. Much better. She waves at him dismissively while I regard the other plate on the table. It's the same fucking thing. As I roll my eyes, I feel a paw run through my lower back, causing me to jump up in shock. That dress is quite expensive, not to mention the belt. Doesn't it strike you as a bit insulting to have a slave walk around in such finery? Bingo, so the distinction isn't lost only on me, but on the wolves as well. Ward my ass. How did Rannoch even afford this? Scandalous. I wouldn't know. As far as I remember, Rannoch's pay remains untouched in the treasury. Perhaps you should look in on this. Your boy seems to have sticky paws. Since when spending one's own coin amounts to stealing? Why would he waste such fortune on... It wasn't Rannoch. That dress was bought by Volgor. A long gush of red wine sprays across the room as the old male chokes on his drink. His coughing real bad, and I nearly allow a satisfied smirk to escape me, as I'm pulled out from my stupor by the sound of the female snapping her fingers at Trist. You! Clean! She claps her paws, and her utter contemptuous tone starts to irritate me. I watch with pity as Trist nods and rushes to the side to fetch a water bucket and some cloth. You! Her annoying voice now echoes in my direction. Wine! She points to the old man's chalice. Wine! She reiterates as I decide not to respond. I'm dumb after all, no? By the moonlight, wine, you pathetic wretch! She growls at me, mimicking a drinking motion. On the outside, I simply nod gracefully and walk towards the side cupboard to pick up a jug, but on the inside, I am screaming. Trist points with his hand to the correct flagon, and I nod to him gratefully. I begin to really feel sorry for the bunny. I do hope this level of abuse is not his daily bread and butter. I approach the old male, waiting for a moment to allow him to end his coughing fit as he struggles to keep his cup in level. Finally, I just refill it. That's when the female pushes her own cup in my direction. I have half a mind to spill the wine over her head, but I know better. Also, I wouldn't want to add to Trist's load, seeing as he frantically scrubs the floor. Once both their drinks are replenished, she waves me away and I step to the side. What's this nonsense about Volgor buying a dress for a human? The male finally wheezes out. He nearly drowned in that wine. Nearly. What a pity. I doubt it was intended for the human, as that was over 5 years ago. He asked me to help him shop in Strandbard. Why would he want to buy a dress? I don't know. Vither shrugs indifferently, only to snicker. Maybe he likes playing dress up at night? He had the coin. The rest is no business of mine. The female growls softly, annoyed that he dodged her question. And how did that expensive tigery dress end up on this human filth? Again, I don't know, nor do I care. He responds nonchalantly. However, I can see a slight shift in his expression. That's right. Nah, not the glasses. She's like Omega Karen. Like, She doesn't need glasses, and yet she screams at everyone because her eyes hurt from the sun. Why don't you ask him yourselves? I'm sure Volgar would love to indulge you. He proposes cheekily, and both elders simply cough it off in this typical geriatric way. I can have him stripped naked if that dress bothers you so. However, considering your gag reflex, the chief adds in a mocking way, but I don't find the joke funny. Yes, Varrock, very droll. Shall we then return to the matter at hand? Better wake her up, or is she finally dead? The old male points to the third elder seated on the other side of the room, and I wonder the same. She's such a frail, ancient-looking female, and I didn't pay her any mind for the lack of movement. Enelle, he calls out. Enelle! Enelle! Shut the fuck up, Aldris. Shut the fuck up. The hag next to him shouts out while throwing a candy date at her target. Oh, what was that? What's happening? How dare you hurt her? Finally, life stirs into the old she-wolf. We were discussing Rannoch's scouting mission. Rannoch is Varrock's son, right? Or is it the other way around? She looks so nice. The female asks, and I just opened my eyes wide. Is this for real? What are you talking about? How could it be the other way around? I'm sorry, I'm only half paying attention. Haven't you been paying attention for the last 20 years? Get her some wine, should clear up her head. He points to me, and although initially I want to react, I remember that I need to double down my dumb act. So I just stand still. You! Wine! The male nearly growls, and that's when Trist gets up from the floor, dropping the wine-stained rag back into the bucket. He approaches me and takes the jug from my hand. The bunny walks towards Enelle to fill her cup, while the two nasty elders glare at me intensively. What's the point of that idiot? Of what possible use could he be to Rannoch? My son seemed satisfied with his service. He says he's a good attendant. The chief shrugs, taking a sip of his wine. Attendant? The hag scoffs. He's more like a pillar. Pillars are at least nice to look at. Ugly damned thing ruins my appetite. Triss gives me an empathetic look as he passes by to return the jug to the cupboard. Ooh, this wine is absolutely lovely. What year is it? Last year, love. It's a young cask. From my own reserves. It does hit the spot, doesn't it, Walrus? She smiles to the pudgy female, and her eyes open wide and annoyed. She smiles to the pudgy female, and her eyes open wide in horror. I'm Aldris. Ooh, so you are. Enelle gives her another kind smile. Seriously, she's always bringing up my bloody sister. It's like she's trying to wind me up. I struggle to contain a chuckle, seeing the hag so easily upset. We're going to starve here at this pace. Fither grumbles and waves his paw gently at the bunny. Trist, chickens. His voice, although loud, carries a rather polite tune. The bunny nods and bids me to follow him into the side room. The shelves are stocked high with different jars and containers. At a quick glance, it's obvious the chamber serves the role of a pantry. 2 tables at the side are stocked high with different dishes. Cold meats, fruits, veg, and raw poultry. It's not cooked, I whisper, poking at the squishy chicken breast. Yeah, we'll need to do it on the spit. Can you fetch it? The one from the main hall? I fucking love Enelle. Oh god, the wig is still floating. No. The bunny nods and I shrug, returning back to the sprawling room. Back to the point at hand, what are we going to do about patrols? We can't send packs blindly into the woods when we don't even know what's happening at the border. I walk slowly towards the open hearth, trying not to draw too much attention to myself. I'd say we need to call in the outer alphas. Isn't that a bit drastic? Drastic, we've lost 2 packs in the northern reaches. I retrieve the long prong, careful not to burn myself with it. We haven't lost them, we know where they are. We just lost contact, which is a whole deal different. The subject of the conversation catches my attention, and I'm trying to be as tardy as possible, while still remaining inconspicuous. We told you to wait another week before starting a panic, and yet you ignored us and sent Rannoch on a rescue mission. I didn't send him. I actually advised against it, but he volunteered anyway out of duty. Can't stop an alpha from trying to locate his missing tribes wolves. Now can we? Because of his departure, the entire village is talking about them as if they were dead. Yeah, witnessed that myself. What if they are? If the worst comes to pass, having outer alphas mobilized is the right course of action. This is exactly the type of hysteria that leads to disaster. Young hotbloods uprooting civil governance through brute force. Are you suggesting I'm planning a coup? I stop in my tracks and gaze towards the chief, whose expression betrays he is very much losing his composure. Whether you plan one or not is beside the point. Warriors gathered in one place and left idle inevitably lead to unrest. Psst, what are you doing? Triss waves at me from the pantry, and I pull myself out of my daze. We will deal with this as we always have, with patience and clear mind. You are not a patient woman. As I enter the room, I close up the doors, but not quite, still very much intent on eavesdropping. Rannoch should be back in a few days. If the pack's perished, then you'll be able to mobilize the entire tribe. Until then, we just wait. What's going on? They're talking about Rannoch's scouting mission, and some political stuff. I mutter, passing in the spit and listening on. Either way, I doubt Vortigern has any designs on Turnin. He's preparing for another raid, most likely. Which is more the reason to stay put. If he decides to target the Tigri, the last thing you want is having an army amassed in your village. I've heard the word Tigri. Please tell me those idiots aren't planning another war. The bunny whispers, finally impaling the chickens onto the prong one by one. It will make us look like accomplices. You of all wolves should know that tigers do not distinguish easily between us. I was a pup then. I've seen what they're capable of. You don't want to invoke the wrath of Tigeron. Especially not on account of someone else's foolish endeavor. I don't think so. I reply uncertainly, getting lost in their conversation. Suppose for a moment it's not a raid, though. Suppose Vortigern is very much eyeing out other tribes. They seem to be worried about someone called Vortigern. Do you know who that is? Whole of Turnin knows who he is. He's an ambitious wolven chief from the north, and is very bad news for everyone. They're actually worried about him. Things are worse than I thought. But this changes everything. The bunny ponders, his expression beaming with determination. What does? You understanding them. Look, I know we got off on the wrong foot, but my people are always the ones to pay the price in any conflict. His voice is almost pleading. If you hear anything indicating that my people might be in danger, you must tell me. Of course. I nod. This was never in question. Triss simply smiles and passes me the spit. It's quite heavier now that 3 chickens weigh it down. Go in there and rotate it slowly. It'll give you an excuse to listen on. I nod and do exactly as told. Well, if that's the case, it was only a matter of time. What was it, 30 years since the last tribal war? I should know. Vithor grumbles in annoyance, poking at one of his scars. Would have been just 20 had your father had his way. The female waves at the chief as I slowly install the prong back into the hearth and begin slowly turning the handle. So this is your counsel. Do nothing? Last time you took drastic action, we all paid the price. Perhaps now you will listen to your elders. Caution isn't the same as inaction. When facing a threat of war, sometimes the best response is not to draw your sword, but rather reach for the quill. I notice the chief and Vithor exchange exasperated gazes. So, you are the peacekeepers now? His tone is so cynical that it even makes me doubt their true motives. Yes, we are. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. And if you claim to be so interested in peace, I don't understand your tardiness. When is Maeve going to arrive? Both wolves are of age now. We should move as fast as possible. Huh? Which wolves? I quite agree. This alliance was decades in the making. We can't let current circumstances sow any doubt in Okane's mind? Okane's mind? Aokane. There we go. His firstborn is a prize in her own right. You're willing to let her slip through your fingers? She should be here around the equinox. The chief waves dismissively. That late? Why not now? The lover's moon would have been an auspicious sign to seal the deal. And perhaps even make them truly bond. I have a nagging feeling they're discussing Rannoch and as intended, and I feel as if a rock formed inside of my stomach. Oh, I dozed off again. Love you, Enelle. What did I miss? The ancient female stirs up. I almost forgot she was even there. We're talking about Maeve. Oh, good. Some porridge or pudding, perhaps? I was getting quite peckish. Maeve! Not Mize! What is the matter with you? I'm sorry, I thought it was a working luncheon. You're becoming quite annoying. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Tron. Let me just... where is it? Text GDI plus. New source. I have like way too many files. This. Here we go. Because he needs to shut the fuck up. The old male snarls, and I try my hardest to look completely clueless, but it's becoming quite a challenge. Rushing this match would make us look desperate. I don't want the other tribes thinking we're weak. Especially now, having the human here made us look like fools to begin with. Vithar draws their attention to me, and again the old wolves give me nasty gazes. Just smile and turn, round and round the spit goes. Which reminds me, how did you manage to get past our patrols? Did you punish anyone? Like who? We don't even know which one of the sentries failed. If the human is here, then they all failed. Should have selected any wolf and simply make an example out of him. Should have killed that mongrel as well. Damn, Triss wasn't kidding. Those two are absolutely horrible. Yeah, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. They indeed shall. Dare you insult Enelle? In my time? Your time never came, old she-wolf, so you're barking under the wrong tree. Do we really have to have this talk during a meal? All those calls for blood make me lose my appetite. A discreet smile escapes me. Vithar is such a good wolf. I guess the tigery really did rub off on him. This is not a silly matter, pup. In case your eyes went along with your senile mind, I'm no pup, and haven't been called one in quite some time. Impertinent. Please, keep at least some level of decorum. The other kin are watching. The chief growls, pointing at me and Trist, who's now arranging small plates with cold meats around the table. Then ask them to turn around and face the walls. Now, really? The male scoffs, clearly finding the comment distasteful. Have they been here this whole time? I fucking love her. Hang on, let me find it. Petting. Hand. Transparent. Hang on, where is it? I just want to give her a hug. I want to give, who do you call it? Enelle a hug. I want to give her a hug. She's good. She's a good person. She's good. I love her. I've only known Enelle for 10 minutes, but if anything were to happen to her, I would kill everyone in this room, and then myself. Let me just... There we go. Okay, let me, like, move it, like, below the, chat box real quick. Where's the chat box? God, I have too many files on here. I have, like, too many files listed. Hang on, where is it at? Fuck, chat box. Chat box, here we go. We're just gonna keep that there. Enelle points to us, darting her very confused eyes between me and the bunny. I guess the others did not deign to entertain her question. She is. How dare you not answer her question? In any case, if Aokain changes his mind, Rannoch can have my girl. The two of them are getting along quite well. I was right then. Maeve is Rannoch's intended. Don't be obscene. Your relationship with the chief is incestuous as it is. Vithar coughs up his wine as he was about to take a sip. Yes, Vithar. Don't be incestuous. The chief elbows his friend teasingly, but it seems only to aggravate the elders more. If you lose that match, you'll lose the alliance that comes with it. Who's talking about losing it? I'm just saying that the boy won't have to go without a mate for long should worse come should worse comes to pass. The females are practically queuing up for the fucker. Vither raises his cup towards the chief, and the male laughs back at him with clear pride in his voice. Do you really think that we don't see your little game? That we would allow you two to accumulate enough power to tackle us head on? You defective whelp. I could tackle you right here, right now, old man. Wait, Vither's gay? Yo, is Vither gay? I mean, like, just churches. Where we in the world? Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. I'm genuinely curious. I don't know. The brown wolf stands up, and for the first time I see his muzzle show very little cheer or levity. And you're going to allow him to disrespect us like that? Since my memory doesn't fail me, I can recall who was first to throw insults. The chief speaks slowly, making sure they understand the gravity of the situation. I'm going to brush it off to a heated exchange, unless you want to stand by your baseless accusations. It would be a shame having to end this day with a duel for Vither's satisfaction. First time I notice Aldris's eyes fill up with something other than spite. She darts her worried gaze between determined muzzles of both quarries and pats her friend on the shoulder. Heated exchange, nothing else. Right drawn? Heated, indeed. The old geezer concedes reluctantly. Would he really be so petty to throw his life away had she not intervened? Vither would make minced meat out of him. You have lots to learn. The hag throws a nasty gaze towards the brown wolf. The mockery and the contemptuous attitude you display is unbecoming of your position. The title of Varrock's advisor should have gone to a true wolf of merit, not a simple-minded brute. A brute? Vither is the sweetest wolf I've met so far, not counting Rannoch, of course. Nah, Enelle is the sweetest. I was the top alpha of my generation, she-wolf. Every scar on my body is a badge of merit. He points to his many wounds as he takes his seat back. What were you, a den mother and your friend over there a glorified quill pusher? Don't you talk to me about merit. Preposterous. Enelle, care to weigh in? Why are you dragging her into this? Is it because she accomplished more in her lifetime than the two of you combined? How dare you? Now it's the old-timer who raises up from his seat. Enelle! Oh, I'm sorry, I was miles away. I was thinking that it would be such joy to have some nice fruit punch. It has gotten tremendously hot in here. I've only known Enelle for like half an hour, but if y'all were to hurt her in any way, shape, or form, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself. She fans her paw on her face as she gazes towards the fire. At first, they're both stumped, but the old male quickly exhales heavily and throws his angered stare at us. You, bunny, teach pig how to serve. He growls nastily, redirecting all his anger at me. What a coward, picking on the easiest prey. I follow Tristan to the pantry, seeing the bunny nearly seething. Ugh, not only they butcher our kin, but they also butcher our language. As we enter the chamber, I watch the bunny scatter about, bringing all different ingredients together. The whole conversation got me extremely worried, and you weren't kidding. Those two are horrible. I ain't saying that word. The bunny chuckles, looking at me with the first genuinely friendly expression. He laughs it off as he grabs a large pitcher and fills it up with some dried fruit. Fetch that flagon. There should be some merry wine left. I nod and uncork the bottle. I take a quick sniff and savor the lovely sweet aroma. Rannoch told me that the meeting to save my life took day and night on their account. I mutter as Trist pours the wine into the pitcher. It would have driven me insane having to listen to those two. I should know. I've been there, almost descended into a fist fight several times. I frown, passing him several different containers he points to. Be happy it's just the two of them. There's more elders? Of course. He scoffs at my, in retrospect, silly question. Most of them live remotely, though, spread across the territory. Oh god, I just realized that the hand is still there. Let me just... Where is it? It's like right below the chat box. There we go. It's just a handful that lives near the village. And among them, these two. I wince uncomfortably. Yeah. I have to concede, Aldris and Drawn are the worst of the bunch. They are! Vither seems such a good wolf. It amazes me they're edging him on like this. They respect no one. I might not have my memories, but I'm sure they'd be on the top of the list of nastiest people I've ever met. From the way the bunny prepares the punch, it very much looks like sangria, just with dried fruit and spices. He adds some lemongrass and mint as well. In truth, this does seem like a nice drink. I need to quickly check on the chickens before they burn. All I need you to do is simply add a splash of moonshine and stir it in. Okay. I nod as he passes me a small jar filled with the familiar clear liquid. He then hastily rushes to the main hall. I watch the doors curiously as I hear the elders immediately abuse the crap out of the bunny as he enters their line of sight. Where's the damned punch, you lazy bastard? If he was my tenant, I would have whipped some life into his step. The remark causes my hands to tremble as I open the jar and accidentally drop it. Oh. Shit! I gasp, almost dipping my fingers into the mixture in a delayed reflex, but it's too late. The jar already plummeted to the bottom. Just as on cue, Trist rushes back in and yanks the jug from me. No, wait! I try to stop him, but cover my mouth, hoping to God I wasn't heard. Fuck. I'm torn between just hiding or rushing after him, but I cannot leave the bunny to face the abuse alone. I simply walk out with a lively gait, trying to catch up to him, but I'm too late. Trist pours in a large serving, and the female wets her lips only to jolt up in surprise. Ooh! She gasps with her eyes wide open. This punch is really fucking strong. I'm sure my face is white like a sheet of paper while Trist gives me a what the hell look. What did you do, you damned savages? No, I quite like it. Puts life back into my veins. The ancient she-wolf smiles and musters another sip. I'm not sure if she's actually enjoying it or not, but she puts on a brave smile. Seriously, you should have gotten rid of Trist a long time ago. That kid has an attitude problem. Trist is the bunny, right? Or is it the other one? How could it be the other one? Can you actually see him? He looks a bit underfed. Is he one of yours? Her question causes the two to exchange stumped looks. It's almost as if she's trying to derail them to prevent further abuse. Don't you remember the meeting from a few days ago? Rannoch brought a human into the village. A human? Here? Don't be silly. Are you quite sure it's not just a bunny with some horrible skin condition? She scoffs and takes another shallow sip of our overproof punch. A bunny? He's bloody standing right there. Human. In the flesh. Oh, so he is. But who would do such a thing? Rannoch! Rannoch did it! Darling, just let it go. At this point, it's like talking to a potted plant. I'm looking at Enelle's peaceful yet sunny expression and can't help but feel like she's simply messing with them. I fucking love Enelle. Once Trist placed the punch onto the side cupboard, he returns to my side observing the rotating chickens. Not that this little exchange wasn't amusing, but we need to return to the main business. Whether you like it or not, we need to send word to outer packs. Being cautious is one thing, being caught unaware is another. Agreed. I'd rather have all the alphas mobilized and ready should the situation in the north threaten our way of life. You're treading on dangerous ground, Varrock. We've told you our position on the matter. If you keep ignoring our counsel, we'll have to invoke a howl and put your position into serious deliberation. Good. Do so. The chief shrugs, catching them by surprise. If you do, however, you'll bring all the alphas right here where I want them. I can see the two elders exchange aggravated looks as they realize he has cornered them. Uncomfortable silence falls over the room, and I look to the bunny who disappears again into the pantry. He comes back with two small wooden boxes. They're beautifully decorated with floral and knot patterns, clearly holding something quite important. As he opens the lid on one of them, I immediately recognize the white salt crystals. I chuckle under my breath. I swear, if he calls me a lord one more time. Trist takes a pinch and carefully sprinkles it over the rotating poultry. You're strong-arming us yet again. What else did I expect? Two brutes without a shred of sense between them. These two, I swear to God, share like one brain cell. And it just died. The old female finally breaks the silence. Considering both me and Vithar bled for our tribe in a war of your making, I see us as more of an authority on the matter than you could ever be. Quill pushers, politicians and diplomats, eager to spill others' blood from the safety of their dens. If Vortigern decides to attack us, I want to be ready, not caught unaware like a stalked prey. I'm willing to concede that a full mobilization might not be in our best interest, but sending a warning out to our other wolves is not a provocation. The bunny unlocks the other box, revealing some dried herbal mix. Again, he dusts the chickens with the blend, and I smile with satisfaction as the immediate aroma enveloping the room. The smell is quite divine, with small drizzles of fat dropping into the fire below and empowering the scent permeating the air. You always find an excuse to get your way. Perhaps Rannoch's little mission is part of your ploy to sideline us. We should have demanded your pup's head for this atrocity. The hag waves her grubby paw at me in a dismissive manner, while the chief tenses up. He throws her the most murderous stare I've ever witnessed, and my heartbeat instantly skyrockets. The male looks more feral than when he was ready to kill me, and yet the old fools don't seem to pay him any mind. Only Enelle seems to regard me, her eyes locking with mine and her ears twitching as if she picked up on my distress. Your father would have never. Well, he isn't around, now is he? The male growls viciously, his wet lips trembling with anger, revealing gritting fangs beneath them. I notice Vithar place upon his friend's shoulder, trying to calm him down, but the chief brushes it away. When was the last time you visited his name tree to meditate? Last time I needed to piss outdoors. How dare you! Aldrich's sidekick rises up and slams his paw into the table in another display of defiance. Who does he think he can intimidate here? Maybe me, but he would have no chance with the chief or Vithar. So much posturing. I almost sigh, noticing Enelle continue to give me discreet gazes in this rare moment of her alertness. She looks back at the spectacle in front of us, simply closing her eyes in resignation. You're here to advise me in governance, not poke your nose in my family affairs. Last time you did so, I lost a loved one. I won't let you do this again. The male growls once more in a clear threat. The ancestors. If you mention the ancestors one more time, I shall make you one of them. And if you ever threaten my family again, I will use your collective name trees as kindling on our next feast. This escalated quickly. The two elders look at him utterly stumped and quickly throw their gazes to the female on the other side of the room, clearly looking for support. But Enelle is back again in her torpor, eyes closed and unmoving, almost as if she returned to the You were always profane and obscene, Varrock, and you chose your company well. She darts her squinty eyes towards Vithar. Pray your combined blasphemy doesn't anger the spirits. Now, with sheltering this human, you will have a lot to answer for when you finally face their judgment. Again, failing memory seems to be a recurring motif here. Not that you would notice. The brown male scoffs in a nasty tone. I guess both his and the chief's patience ran out. Varissa made it clear that this is the will of the ancestors. You have no legs to stand on. The elders give me another round of their spiteful looks. Varissa is a young bitch barely past her first heat. She does not speak for the ancestors.
I want to punch the fuck out of Aldris.
How dare you insult her? And I suppose you do. You think yourself witty, but in truth you just reveal your ignorance. We knew half the ancestors you now worship. We shared this world with them. Yes, they just had the decency to leave it when their time came. I almost choke on that remark, trying to cough it up as my reaction to the smoke filling the room due to the fat dripping from the spit. The Blood Moon has anointed its champion, Varrock. Do not think that Aluna forgives and forgets. You speak for her as well now? I suggest you keep away from my family. Rannoch broke the law, and I'll break your jaw if you threaten him again. He clings his cup against the table, spilling half its contents, and I shudder. Rannoch's position seems to be very much hanging on a thread, and I try not to tear up. His father is the only thing that stands between my wolf and those bloodthirsty monsters. You must be joking. Do I look like a jester to you? I had hoped that my father taught you all what happens to those who don't stay in line. I warn you, Varrock, times have changed. You cannot threaten us at all. You serve the tribe at our pleasure, and we can find another should a need arise. Triss notices my mortified expression and pokes me subtly. He makes a drinking gesture and points to the chief. I take it as a cue to fetch the jug and give him a grateful smile as he just made an excuse for me to remove myself from sight. My distress must have been getting quite clear, and had anyone noticed, my ability to understand them would become apparent. As I approach the cupboard, I realize how shaky my hands are. I need to stabilize myself. Just as I reach for the jug of wine to refill the chief's cup, I spot the pitcher with the overproof punch. I look back, ensuring that no one pays me any mind as the heated exchange continues. You can bark all you like, Aldris. Without the quorum, you cannot do a thing, and no one will support you at the moment. Especially not with 2 missing alphas. I pour myself a cup and thirstily down it, grimacing heavily. Fuck. And Enelle wasn't joking. This punch is really fucking strong. Convenient. And how convenient is it that your son is responsible for finding them? Wouldn't surprise me if he was gone for weeks. Perish the thought. Those last 3 days were a nightmare without my wolf to guide me. I sigh, straighten my dress, and try to compose myself. I take the wine jug and slowly approach the chief. As I pass next to Vither, he winks discreetly, almost as if trying to give me courage. The chief doesn't even regard me, simply pushing his cup in my direction. I look at his wine-stained paw and refill his drink. You can think what you like, he sighs in a resigned tone. I feel sorry for the man, and his little outburst when we met makes so much more sense now. I thought Rannoch was overwhelmed. This wolf is literally graying away because of those nasty schemers. I have such a newfound respect for how ferociously he protects his son, even in the face of his potential errors. How long do you think you can maintain this charade? If only I had a charade to maintain, old fool. Ooh, did somebody say charades? Are we playing games now? What fun! The 2 nasty elders exchange annoyed gazes and simply sneer at the other female. You have been of immense help, Enelle, as always. It is my pleasure. She smiles obliviously while the other 2 stand up. I rush behind them to return the jug to the table and rejoin Trist at the hearth. Aren't you going to eat? I'd rather share a meal with pigs than with you 2. That can be arranged. The chief scoffs while the old hag throws another date at her counterpart. Grab the sticks! Grab the sticks, we're poking a dead body. And that dead body's name is Aldris. How dare you hurt Enelle? Enelle, come, we're leaving. Ooh, so soon? But we only just got here. Ugh, I wish you would just bloody die already. The old male mutters as he passes next to me. He gives me a very mean look and I fight the urge to just stick my tongue out at him. Seeing them leave, both Chief and Vither exchange relieved looks and return to a casual conversation. We're gonna leave off here tonight. I fucking love Enelle. I just want to, like, give her infinite pets because she deserves them, because she is fucking amazing. Yeah.
If Enelle dies, I will end the other 2.
Yeah. Gotta love politics. Enelle's just built different. I want to make a video about her now. Wait, I'm gonna head off and make a video. I probably won't be about Enelle, which is sad. But anyways, stay safe, have a good night, and I might see you all tomorrow. I don't know.